From the Keith Vince and Kayla Studios in Patterson, New Jersey, Green Arrow Media proudly presents Is This Real? On tonight's episode, we discuss grimoires. What are they and how are they used? And now your host, JC3.
Hey there, fellow truth seekers. Are you ready to dive deep into the mysteries of the universe? Look no further than isisrealpc.com, your one-stop destination for all things mysterious and unexplained. From captivating podcast episodes to thought-provoking articles, our website is packed with fascinating content that will leave you questioning reality. Visit isisrealpc.com today and join our community of curious minds as we explore the unknown together. Don't just wonder, discover the truth today at isisrealpc.com. Welcome everybody to another fantastic week and episode of Is This Real? Is This Real? Tonight we have a shrunken booth, but me and Anthony are big enough for 4 people.
That's true.
In this episode, we're talking about grimoires, as you heard the Pope say. In the booth tonight, we have the Pope himself.
I'm the fucking Pope.
We have Mr. West. Mr. West, say hello.
Hi.
And like we said, we're talking about grimoires. Move me to this camera now, West. We're going to focus on me and Anthony's camera, and that's it. One-on-one, face-to-face with this episode. It should be like different episodes. It should be more than just grimoire that we're talking about. But we do have Wes behind the scenes, and you actually see Wes. I think it's like right here. You see him. If I'm pointing.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, right there. All right. So grimoires, Anthony. We'll start with you. Do you believe in grimoires?
They're fucking spell books.
Yes.
No.
Okay, Wes. Do you believe in grimoires?
That would mean asking if I believe in magic, and I do believe in magic to a certain extent. So
do you believe in magic?
So yes, I believe that certain grimoires do have more power over others.
All right, now we're going to talk about what grimoires are. So grimoires, there's a couple legendary grimoires.
Oh, there's a lot of them that are very famous.
The
necromancy one.
The Necronomicon? Is that what you're trying to say?
Necronomicon.
Yes.
The Book of the Dead.
The Key of Solomon.
The Key of Solomon would be considered a grimoire, written by Aleister Crowley.
Yes. So grimoires have captured the imaginations of occultists and scholars for centuries. But what exactly are these? And what are these texts, and where do they come from? We're going to be talking about this. Grimoires aren't just books; they're gateways to forbidden realms of knowledge and power, for summoning demons to casting spells. These ancient tomes. Okay, tomes. I thought it was Spanish.
Tomes, estás aquí, Tomes.
Tomes claim to offer insights into the darkest corners of the universe, and we'll explain what the cost is. What do these things actually fucking do to you if you do cast spells? So let's talk about some grimoires, okay? So like I said, we said that, spell books, magic books, textbook of magic. They include instructions on how to create magical objects like talismans and amulets, how to perform magical spells, charms, and divinations, and how to summon or invoke supernatural entities as angels, spirits, deities, and demons. So all 4: gods, angels, the regular spirit, and demons. Now my question for you.
I'm all ears.
Would you, and Wes, you can answer this also.
Thank God.
We can sit there and probably tell us later in this, but when someone performs a seance, are they doing it from a grimoire book?
I don't think it's necessary to have a grimoire.
I've never been part of a seance. Have you, West? Have you ever been a part of a seance?
No.
Okay.
I'm also confused. Is it grimoire or is it grimoire? It feels very French, so I'm assuming it's grimoire.
Yes.
Yes?
You can just be extra. You can say that.
Just be extra.
The fucking spell book, right?
Oh, see, that was the Italian side of it. The fucking spell book.
No, I don't think this has anything to do with seance. You could use one during a seance. I'm sure.
Well, I mean, what is
But
a
if you're-
seance though?
Well, I mean,
You're contacting,
you're conjuring
and trying to conjure up a spirit.
through incantations.
through
and
incantation.
and those incantations don't necessarily have to come from a grimoire.
Exactly. It could be something. Well,
You just hit me with some knowledge.
it could. He's right, but also it could be someone.
Thank
if,
you, Wes.
if someone is psychic and can communicate.
Oh,
with
he
the
doesn't
dead,
believe in psychics.
I didn't say that.
That was the double hit. That was the double quote.
Didn't say I
Psychic.
don't believe in
The
psychics.
wide ones too.
Yeah, the wide ones. He went psi. He went a quotation around psi, and then kick. He went psychic.
It's not the close ones. It's not like
It's not like, oh, it's little. No. He went psychic.
that means he really don't believe in it.
There have someone like Lorraine Warren was a clairvoyant. She was, or she
One
said
of the best in the world. When
she
was
said
alive,
that she
yes.
was, right? And if you believe that she was, she could talk to or summon or have a seance without having a book in front of her invoking that. It was just because
it was a feeling.
exactly, she was able to connect to the other side without any book to tell her how to do so. So I don't know if you're gonna have a seance, if you have someone there who's already in tune with the psychic world, or that world, the other side of life,
The supernatural.
the supernatural world. Thank you. If you're someone who's already in tune with that, then I don't think you need a grimoire with you. This, I think, was really for people, like you said, to cast spells, to get what they want, to summon people,
So
summon
if
spirits,
the everyday
demons.
Joe basically can read this book and be like,
See,
yeah.
Maybe like a guide. Maybe like a guide for new witches, warlocks,
we have witches and warlocks. You have sorcerers and
sorcerers, and
yeah,
shit.
yeah. But here's the thing, and this is where I think the real problem comes in. I'll play right
Devil's
in,
advocate.
not devil's advocate, but I'll play into the hand here and say that sure, let's pretend this whole stuff is real and I believe in it, right? In order for this stuff to work, if I picked up the book as me and I read it, I'm like, okay, mix this and that and say these words, nothing's gonna happen because I don't believe in it. I think if you're gonna use one of these books, you have to believe in it. And I believe that that's what works, that makes these books work. The power of belief and perception based on the user. You can mix the eye of the toad and the spleen of the newt and say these goofy words. And if it doesn't matter to you and you don't believe in it, nothing's going to happen. I'm almost the same way when it comes with like playing with a Ouija board. If
Forgot
you
the
really
leaf of
think,
eucalyptus.
if you really think that this doesn't matter, then nothing's going to happen. You're not in tuned spiritually or psychically with this thing, so it's not going to have the same effect as if somebody who was in tune with it, and there you go.
I
So
Don't
then,
ag-
so
I
so-
don't agree
so-
with him on
so,
that.
No,
That's
no,
fair.
So in your opinion, Tony, you believe that you have to be chosen to be able to read a
no, the
grimoire?
power of belief.
You have to believe in it. If you don't believe in it, then there's nothing that's going to happen when you fuck with it.
But see, that's the problem I have with that is that you're putting too much faith into the power of belief.
That's what it is. That's what it all comes down to, isn't
It's
it?
not what it all comes down to.
Otherwise, you're saying that magic is a physical, tangible, real thing that can be manipulated and wielded by individuals. And I don't believe in that. I don't.
It's magic can be applied to the same thing as faith.
No, it can't. Magic is, I'm going to do this thing, and by a supernatural means, an effect is going to happen.
Okay.
Faith
Please explain the difference between magic and faith.
Faith is believing that there is a higher plan or a higher power. It's putting your belief into something else.
What do
And
people do when they pray?
People pray for guidance. People pray for understanding. People pray just to be heard. There is a power when it comes to prayer,
But that's
but
the
that's
thing,
not
though.
doesn't necessarily equate to them saying if I pray something good's going to happen. Some
That-
people do,
But that's 90% of what people pray for.
but by doing that, you also have to say that God is real, or there's something on the other side listening to you, and you're going to make that thing happen for you.
But that you're when you turn around, and this is like a different conversation here, but when you turn around and say that you believe more in the power of belief than you do in the power of faith,
Mm-hmm.
to me, you're talking two sides of the same coin.
It's anything belief and faith. This like the power of believing in this thing. Let me put it like this: if I believe that if I touch this Ouija board and I manipulate it, I'm giving it power to manifest itself because I'm believing in it. Faith, I think, is more broad. I think faith is
So
based.
I have someone. I'm on Wikipedia right now. No sponsor.
Not sponsored.
We will not give them 10 cents to say.
Right now the article is Magic and Religion, and this guy named Ralph Merrifield, the British archaeologist, credited as producing a full-length volume dedicated to the material approach to magic, defined the differences between religion and magic, or faith. Religion is used to indicate the belief in supernatural or spiritual beings, and magic, the use of practices intended to bring occult forces under control, so to influence effects.
There you go. I'm controlling this thing. That's what magic is. I'm controlling an outcome. Faith is saying that I believe there's something out there, and I can't put my finger on it.
But that's not what you're saying, though. That's why it's confusing.
You're right. So that's a much more clear definition of what I'm trying to get at.
Because you're turning around and say, if I believe in this, if I believe in this magic, that's what's going to make it work.
The power of belief makes it manifest itself and becomes real, if that's what magic is. But I think that what I'm trying to get at, and this person on Wikipedia made it much easier, you're using magic to manipulate an outcome versus faith, where you're believing in something and you could pray to that thing for an outcome, but that doesn't mean that you have power over it.
But here's the difference from what you're saying. When you're separating the two, and Wes, tell me if I'm wrong with this. When you're separating the two, and you say,
wait, by the two you mean by faith and magic?
Yeah, faith and magic.
Okay.
By what you said there.
Uh-huh.
From his definition of magic and what this person just said, there is no mention of you have to fully believe in it to make it work.
Okay.
It just sounds like you're just using.
You're using it.
So the average existential forces in order to manipulate something to your wants and preferences. And shit.
Okay.
So that means an everyday common, I'm not gonna say American, because an everyday common person could sit there and pick up a grimoire book and be like, oh, and then the fucking thing will float.
That's why certain grimoires are like banned and shit, or you can't find them, or they don't make any grimoires with actual real like legit translations, because there is legitimate power behind these shits. Like the necromancy book that you're talking about, or that we talked about earlier.
Yes, the necromancer I have right here. It's from H.P. Lovecraft.
It's a very popular manuscript. But for the most part, if those people back then they made these manuscripts, it's kind of like alchemy, or just a lot of these other hidden pseudosciences, if you want to believe in it. They're written in codes, so you're not gonna get the full gist of what is actually being said in these books, no matter how, if you get like an accurate, legit translation to it, because these people back then like know or believe that there is legitimate power behind these shits, and they don't want just any common person, like you're saying, to wield it. I know it's frustrating.
But that's what I'm saying.
I know it's
like,
frustrating, but it's kind of like how it was done.
I get you. Like, okay, something like the Necronomicon is nothing like the Lesser Key of Solomon. The Necronomicon was written by H.P. Lovecraft, who was
and different author. There's numerous authors that added to it.
Right, but he was an author of science fiction and horror. That's the same thing of L. Ron Hubbard with Scientology. I don't believe in Scientology as a legitimate.
So legitimate. The book of necromancy. That's just a piece of science fiction. I thought that was like kind of. I thought that was like based off of the Book of the Dead by the Egyptians.
I'm talking about the Necronomicon.
So that was my point. The necromancy and Necronomicon, there's two different things.
Okay.
I think anything that's written by an author who is out there producing works of fiction.
Here's the history for the Necronomicon. I have it right here. According to Lovecraft's pseudo-scholarly history of the Necronomicon, the book was written in Damascus in the early 8th century by Abdul al-Hazrad, a mad poet from Sana'a, Yemen. He completed the work sometime before his mysterious death in 738 CE. It was translated into Greek in 950 CE by Theodorus Philatus of Constantinople, who gave it to the title of Necronomicon. A Latin translation was made in 1228 by Elias Wormius. It is banned in most countries and all organized, I'm guessing, religions. The book itself. According to Lovecraft's fiction, Robert W. Chambers took inspiration for the King of Yellow concept from rumors he had heard regarding the Necronomicon.
So he didn't write it. He used it as a
piece of inspiration.
Of a piece of in his fiction.
Yeah.
It's like the movie The Mummy, right? You had the Book of the Dead and you had the Book of Life, which are real Egyptian books that were written thousands of years ago.
Would they be considered grimoires?
Yeah, because they're spell books.
Yes.
And
yeah.
and in the movie The Mummy, they used, Rick O'Connell used it to bring back Emotep and all that shit.
Another interesting point with grimoires too is that it's not just for magics and spells. There's also things like potions and shit like that. So there's also like,
and what I'm having here,
and there's like there's some sort of like medicinal.
Yeah, what I'm also reading
ingredients
here,
or recipes,
grimoires
that are there.
Are also used in various games.
Games as far as what?
Like Vermintide. It's in the game. German. Grimoires are found in set locations during the main campaign missions. Stuff like D&D.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It's all make believe and pretend anyway.
So here's a little more. Wow, my fucking eyes fucking suck right now. In many cases, the books themselves are believed to be imbued in magical powers, although in many cultures, other sacred texts that are not grimoires, such as the Bible, have been believed to have supernatural properties. The only contents found in a grimoire would be information on spells, rituals, preparation of magical tools, and the list of ingredients of their magical correspondence.
Mm-hmm.
In this manner, while all books on magic could be thought as grimoires, not all magical books should be thought as grimoires.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
While the term grimoire... What?
That's respectable.
Yeah. While the term grimoires is originally European, many Europeans throughout history, particularly ceremonial magicians and cunning folk, have used grimoires. The historian Owen Davies has noted that similar books can be found all over the world, ranging from Jamaican to Sumatra. He also noted that in this sense, the world's first grimoires were created in Europe and the ancient Near East.
Yeah, you know what? If you're gonna take down recipes and, like you were saying, Wes, that have medicinal uses, mix these herbs and you get this effect, and you rub it on your balls, and then all of a sudden you don't have a headache anymore. Like, sure, they can be considered. they can be considered grimoire. Fine, I don't have a problem with that. It's the ones that, like, if you draw this symbol on the floor and you light something on fire and you and there's a sacrifice of a raccoon or something, and the Beelzebub appears. So that's what I'm like, drawing the line, like, grow up.
If you remember from our previous episode last week for us, what were the 3 ancient times we talked about?
We talked about Babylonia, Mesopotamia, and
ancient Egypt.
Yeah, ancient Egypt.
Wasn't it the Greeks as well too?
Well, and the Greeks.
We talked about the Greeks.
Well, in particularly with Egypt, Hellenistic.
Yeah.
Egypt. Same shit here.
Okay.
Like the earliest known written magical incantations come from the ancient Mesopotamia, which is, for all those who are out there, it's modern Iraq.
Yes.
Where they
Iraq, Iran.
I fell down.
I hit my knee.
I hate you.
Where they have been found inscribed on, well, I'm going to say this wrong, cuneiform clay?
Cuneiform.
Hey, close. Tablets that archaeologists excavated from the city of Uruk and dated to be between the 5th and 4th century BC.
Yeah.
The ancient Egyptians also employed magical incantations, which have also been found inscribed on amulets and other items. Would you consider Egypt kind of like the hub for magic and
ancient occultism.
That whole area.
Yes.
That whole area,
right?
The whole area.
Just the Middle East.
Yes, because
the Middle East, yeah.
Well, remember Egypt's in Africa.
In my studies, when I was going through my little like spiritual journey and shit like that, there's a few things that no matter where you look at, it all points to a certain amount of directions. The first thing that you get pointed to is ancient Egypt. A lot of things just came out of ancient Egypt. And then to go further than that, it just goes back to ancient Mesopotamia, the Sumerians. That's as far as back as you're going to go. And that's the original point of everything. Like, you're going to find whatever you're looking for in terms of the truth, spiritual, aliens, whatever the fuck you're going to find. It always points to ancient Egypt, which then points to ancient Sumeria.
Yeah, once you start seeing things written in Sanskrit, you know you've gone too far.
Yeah, they turn around and say the Egyptian magical system known as Heka was greatly altered and expanded after the Macedonians, my bad, led by Alexander the Great, when he invaded Egypt in 332 BC. Under the next 3 centuries of Hellenistic Egypt, the Coptic writing system evolved, and the Library of Alexandria was opened.
Right, and then it was burned into the ground.
And we lost all those fucking scripts.
Yeah.
So
here's the problem. We still have grimoires today. Mm-hmm. And if they worked, then why don't we have somebody who has everything? I'm talking about a true, not leader, but like a true king, a true emperor, someone who went, I can manipulate, I can read this magic book, and I can use the spells, and I can manipulate and put myself into a place of power and rule over everything.
Yeah, that was
why does everyone stop at just before emperor? Even if they're like, you take the billionaires, which is the closest thing we have. I'm not saying they're reading from an ancient book, but you have
I'll say they're reading from an ancient book.
You have Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, all these fucking billionaires. Nobody's at the top. You might have the richest, but nobody's at the top of this shit.
I'm going to sit there, and those people in particular, you could sit there and go, okay, yeah, they're the richest people on earth or stuff like that. Cut them out. They're unimportant. They've been rich for the last 20, 30 years.
You're talking about the Rockefellers
I'm
and old
talking
money?
about old money.
Okay.
These fucking families that have been rich for 400, 500 years and have been on top of the world ever since and control these newly formed billionaires.
Yeah, but there's also a history there that explains how they have their money, like the Rockefellers and the...
And it's a dark history.
Yeah, sure, I'm not saying it, but you have people who control banks, and that family has stayed in control of that bank for generations, and that's where their wealth comes from. They didn't get it from a fucking spell book.
But that's my problem. Nobody controls something forever. Not saying these people it's something forever, but like for the amount of time in which they've controlled these particular areas. And again, this is just all speculation here.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they're really doing this, but it just so happens that these families, these people, always find themselves on the positive end of these whatever.
You have the money to manipulate the outcome. That's the true magic. It has nothing to do with praying. It has nothing to do with mixing or spells or anything like that. It's, I have the power and the money to silence anyone who steps in my way. And I also have something that the world needs. And if they don't need it, I'm going to make them need it. And because I can do that, it's going to be generational wealth. It's going to be passed down from my generation to the next generation in my family's name, because
and
we're the ones who
ever
control.
bad happens to them.
I'm sure that a lot of things have bad happened to them.
Like what?
I don't know. I'm not. I get to do
something to the point where it's like, okay, you take
that derails them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Take any fucking celebrity, especially in these days. Now, granted, we're in a fucked up culture as it is. And it's only getting fucking worse as time is going on.
Well, matter of perspective, but okay.
No, I mean it's just it's only getting fucking
somebody
worse.
in the 1950s said the same thing. Someone in the 1750s said the same thing. Someone in the 50s said the same thing. The kids, they suck, and the world's getting worse.
Well, I do agree that kids are getting dumber as the world continues.
People are not getting dumber. That's just the way things are happening.
No, people are getting fucking stupid.
Well, we do have flat earthers, so there's that.
Exactly. But for my thing is in the world that we have today, where so many people get exposed for the craziest things
Mm-hmm.
because of the internet in which we have.
Mm-hmm.
And the internet can sit there and really fuck someone's day up.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to tell me that these families, any one of them who are part of these families, nothing bad comes out. We have theories about them, which is why a podcast like ours even exists.
Yeah, sure.
And you're going to tell me that there's no... Again, you could sit there and not believe it, because from what you say, from how you say shit, you don't believe in the shit that like this anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, and I don't know how you feel about it, West, but for me, for generational wealth, and I mean we're talking so many generations back,
Sure.
4 or 5 generations now, to continue to be at the level that they are.
Yeah.
There has to be something that just isn't completely and utterly right, besides the child labor or the poor people working for shit like that,
exploiting the lower class to maintain your wealth.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, but that's always been. Yeah, but that's honestly like always been part.
That's
of
the way of the world.
That's just always part of just survivalism. At the end of the day, like at the end of the day, there's human beings need to understand also that there's a natural hierarchy with sort of things. You're gonna look towards someone that can lead you towards prosperity, and in that leadership, you're gonna have people that are beneath you, and you're gonna have people that got stomped out on the way in order to get to those positions. That's just how human beings are. That's
He's
just how
100%
that's just how most hierarchies in nature work anyways too.
No, I agree. Hold on. I agree with you. And I think that after you say your point, after I'm done, that's when we'll take our first break.
Sure.
Take, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and we have videos of it.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying, like I said last week, these ritualistic ceremonies
Mm-hmm.
in which I believe it was, if I'm correct, Skull and Bones and stuff
Bohemian
like that.
Grove.
Bohemian
That's
Grove.
the one that I was thinking of. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Skull and Bones?
No, Bohemian Grove.
Bohemian Grove?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bohemian Grove's the one with like the 15-foot fucking owl. Or
Yeah, yeah.
30-foot
That's
owl.
set on
That's
fire,
Moloch.
and like
Yeah.
you hear like a woman screaming or some shit
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Rituals.
Who's involved in those type of rituals?
Are you talking about who, as far as the people who are participating, or somebody who is leading it? Like someone has
Both.
to set it up. I don't know. I don't have the answer.
I would say that there's a shadow organization within the higher
Mhm.
hierarchies of rich people, because it would make sense that they would think of it.
Someone like BlackRock?
No, think of it like this. Think of it how back in little history. Think of how
I love West History Time.
Think of how back in right before the Romans implemented Christianity into their society.
Yeah.
The Romans had they had their own pagan religion as far as within the elites.
Well, paganism has been a thing throughout history.
But just like hear me out though.
Yeah, I'm listening.
So this was it mytherianism, some shit like that. It's pretty much the same story of Jesus Christ, but in a pagan perspective. Like they have this savior, salvation, etc., and they fuse that with the religion of the common people in order to kind of like make a common ground. So like
Yes.
so like what I'm like trying to get at is that there could be some sort of religious hierarchy or religious religious society within these secret societies that follow their own sets of rules, so that way we're never gonna find out who the fuck is leading this shit.
Well, no, I agree with you, and by what I mean is who's a part of. Again, it's speculatory.
Rich people.
But rich people, as far as the people who basically, when you see them go into these retreats,
Mm-hmm.
you see the people like the Bill Clintons and the Hillary Clintons going there.
Sure.
You see the Bushes going there.
Yep.
You see the Obamas going there.
Yep.
And granted, these are people who are elected our president and stuff like that, but you also see the Bill Gateses and stuff like that.
Yep.
These are people who do run our world.
Mm-hmm.
These are the richest people on earth that do these ritualistic activities.
Satanic, if you want to throw that in there.
Satanic to some extent.
Okay.
If you want to call it that.
Who are reading from the... What is the point of a ritual if not for... If you want to say magical exploits or
What's
anything like that?
Um,
What's
the point of a ritual?
Yeah, no, I can agree with you.
You could.
It sounds like you're trying to get some sort of, you're trying to exploit it in some sort of way in order to
See,
to benefit.
It's either that or the other object is the other reason why you do a ritual is same thing as why people go to mass or temple or mosque or whatever.
Culture.
It's part of your culture. It's also part of a way to reaffirm your faith in whatever it is you're praying to.
I would agree with you on that aspect if it was something to the point of how faith is used. Not used, but how faith is viewed. When you have I'll even sit there and throw in Satanism with Christianity and all that stuff. These are people who they go to church, they go to temple, and it is massive amounts of people. This is only a ritual for select few.
For the elite, yeah.
To continue to be elite.
No.
From
that
your
I'm going to
aspect.
disagree. That I'm going to disagree with you on. I don't think it's you have to show up at Bohemian Grove in order to be established as an elite person. If you made your money and you became a billionaire, you don't have to.
So I have a question though.
Okay.
I know I keep cutting you off, and I do apologize.
That's
for
all
that.
right. Keep going.
But I just have
all the thoughts are just
yeah.
all
It's
the
like
questions are pouring out.
That's fine. It prevents me from talking myself into a corner. Keep going.
my thing. If you're gonna sit there and go no, and you're talking like if you have the money and stuff like that, we talked about celebrities with Scientology, and we talked about Scientology.
Yeah.
Celebrities have their own type of religion. Obviously, Scientology is one for that.
Sure, some of them do.
That's not an elitist group.
Depends on the way you view it.
What celebrities that like movie stars that are a part of that you, not a part of, because again we don't know.
Right.
But what celebrities have you heard that's like, oh, we think they're a part of Bohemian Grove?
I don't know. Like I don't know the ins and outs. Like I know it's for.
I would speculate like executive producers of Hollywood.
Even at that, like
people who have the ability to change the narrative. That is also known as control. If you have any sort of semblance of control, if you're the guy at the top of the studio who gets to choose which movie gets financed and which movie gets the kibosh, then yeah, you have a control. And if you're trying to push an agenda or a narrative, like you and I had this discussion off here a few weeks ago, we've seen an uptick in these movies that are set in a civil war in the United States in the near future.
Oh, you're talking
like we have right now. Civil War just came out, right?
Yeah.
That's it's the A24's highest movie that they've produced, most expensive.
Production company.
So do I.
And
everyone is ranting that this movie's like amazing. You just had that other movie that had Julia Roberts in it that you and me and West watched a few weeks ago.
That was produced by the Obamas.
That was
and their
produced.
production
Yep.
company.
And then you also have this other movie about the Russians in space take over the space
Well,
station.
yeah, and while there was a civil war on Earth.
While there was a civil war happening on Earth. So
well, not civil war,
whatever.
a war happening.
Right.
On Earth,
So you have this notion that all these movies are coming out that depicts the same thing. What could be possible? What message is being sent by the upper elites to us? Are they warning us? Are they doing? It's all speculation.
Yeah, but then there's also the conspiracy theorists of the internet, of TikTok and all that are saying that a lot of these movies are just
yeah, they're rubbing it in our faces.
They're rubbing it in our faces, and they're showing us what they're doing by casting their spells on us with etc. Whatever.
Well, I don't know about the spell part, but I will say that
there are people that really genuinely sit here and believe that we're being manipulated, programmed. I can agree with the programming, just because if showing repetitiveness will eventually like make you think some sort of way.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's like magical though, because if you're gonna sit here and try to get people to believe or fear something, would you say that that's invoking some sort of magical power from your fucking grimoire or whatever?
No.
A lot of people would sit there and say that fear itself has powers.
Fear does have power.
And I don't particularly think it's magical power. If you want to put it in a sense, there's two ways you could sit there and fear have power.
Fear can be used as a power. It's not power in and of itself.
But if you want to go into the spiritual sense, there's a lot of people who say if you have enough fear, or if you're fearing this particular item or situation, it feeds into whatever dark entity that is causing that situation.
I mean, just look at Star Wars. Fear leads to hate. Hate leads to the dark side. You know what I mean? It's not so much...
Now, we're going to turn this back into Grimoire in just a couple seconds
here. Yeah. Now, I wanted to bring up a point before you where you were talking about how the elitist families who control everything keep maintaining control. Nothing changes over generations or generations.
Rituals and stuff like that.
Right. Keep that shit off to the side. Let's pretend that they're not using any grimoires or anything like that. Mm-hmm. They're just a powerful family who keeps getting the lucky break and it keeps keeping control.
Nobody has luck for that long.
Okay, but if you set in stone a culture and say this is how we operate as a family, as a company, as a unit, and no one is allowed to change that idea, and we all have to stick to that idea regardless of who's in charge, that idea, that culture is going to keep going for generations. You see it when it comes to religion. Now,
well, you also see it when it comes to civilization.
You do, but take for instance Orthodox Jews and Hasidic Jews. These are people who refused to interpret their book any other way than what they interpret it as. And they have lasted thousands of years because this is the belief that they have, and they're not going to change it. That goes from generation to generation to generation with the same principles and values as the last one who came before.
What book are they talking about?
The Talmud, the Old Testament, yeah.
And not saying it's an actual thing or it's magical powers, but like this said, religious books can be construed as grimoires.
Yeah, it can be. If you're using, I think of a grimoire more as like a book of spells, potions, and incantations to get something. I need this effect to happen. So I'm going to go to the cookbook and I'm going to find the recipe and I'm going to use it. It's much different than a book of stories that you use as a foundation of faith to live your life by. You're not looking so much for an immediate thing. You're looking for salvation of your soul. And that way, when you do die, there's a place for you in the afterlife that's not going to be discomfort.
We need to go to break real quick.
We've been running for like 45 minutes, dog.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, we'll go to break real quick, and we'll come back and do a little bit more, and then we'll end it. But take a listen to some of our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Are you a filmmaker, cosplayer, or special effects enthusiast looking to take your creations to the next level? Then look no further than New Rule FX. From realistic props to professional grade special effects equipment, New Rule FX has everything you need to bring your vision to life. Explore their extensive catalog of high-quality products and unleash your creativity like never before. Visit our link in the description to shop now below.
Hey everybody, I'm JC3.
And I'm Mr. West.
And this episode is brought to you by Dubby. Made by professionals in the USA, Dubby was formulated to give you focus and energy with no jitters or crash.
No jitters.
Their formula contains vitamins, amino acids, including the patented Neurofactor. You know what Dubby doesn't give you?
What's that?
No calories, no sugars, no fillers, and no artificial flavors. When the raw ingredients arrive to their FDA-registered and inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP guidelines, they undergo a quarantine while a small sample of each ingredient is taken to test for any impurities, while also being tested to ensure that the ingredients are actually what they are supposed to be and have the proper dosage.
And once the ingredients pass all the tests, then they're cleared to get mixed into the formula. So head on over to w.gg and use our offer code IsThisRealPC for 10% off your first order. That's DUBBY.GG and use the code IsThisRealPC for 10% off. They have great flavors such as Galaxy Grenade, Dub Sludge, Pass and Joy Tea, Monkey Madness, and Dragonade. My personal favorites.
Dragonade right here. I got Dragonade right here. Delicious.
Drink Dubby
And be better.
These products are not intended to diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.
Who wants better sex? And who wants better sex starting now? The best way to get started is go to adamandeve.com.
Adam and Eve is offering 50% off just any item.
But that's not all. When you select your one item, you will also get 3 bonus items. That includes a gift for him, a special gift for her, and a gift you'll both like.
Plus 6 free movies for your viewing pleasure and free shipping.
There is discreet shipping as your privacy is priority. Plus 100% free shipping on your entire order.
Doesn't matter how much you spend or what you buy, it will all be packaged and sent discreetly for free.
Don't wait. Better sex is just one click away.
That's 50% off one item, 3 free gifts, 6 free movies, and free shipping.
Bring more pleasure and satisfaction to your bedroom.
Just go to adamandeve.com and select any one item. It could be an adventurous new toy or anything you desire.
Just enter code QUESTION at checkout.
That's question, QUESTION at adamandeve.com.
This exclusive offer is specific to this podcast only. So be sure at checkout you punch in the code QUESTION. That is QUESTION at checkout. And get your 50% off one item, 10 free gifts, and free shipping. Remember, use code QUESTION. Also remember to listen to Is This Real every Sunday at 8 o'clock with new episodes starting July 16th. Remember, everybody, question everything and put that question at the end of your checkout at adamandeve.com. Calling all cat lovers. Are you tired of your furry friend taking over your living space? Say hello to Cat Cave Co., your one-stop shop for all things stylish cat furniture. Their modern design seamlessly blend into your home decor while providing your cat with a cozy sanctuary of their own. Discover the perfect piece for your feline friend today using the link in the description and reclaim your space without compromising your style. Your cat will thank you.
Hey, fellow truth seekers. Want to take your love for the Is This Real podcast to the next level? Check out our exclusive merchandise line designed for curious minds like yours in mind. From comfy tees and hoodies to stylish mugs and accessories, our merchandise is the best way for you to show your passion for unraveling the mysteries of the fucking universe. Visit our online store at isthisrealpc.com and gear up to explore the universe in style. Don't just listen, wear your curiosity with pride with Is This Real podcast merchandise.
Hey there, fellow truth seekers. Are you ready to dive deep into the mysteries of the universe? Look no further than IsIsraelPC.com, your one-stop destination for all things mysterious and unexplained. From captivating podcast episodes to thought-provoking articles, our website is packed with fascinating content that will leave you questioning reality. Visit IsIsraelPC.com today and join our community of curious minds as we explore the unknown together. Don't just wonder, discover the truth today at IsIsraelPC.com. Welcome back, everybody, as we continue our Grimoire episode. And we've, in this small booth tonight, we can talk. As you can notice, me, West, and
we can yap.
Pope, we can be yappers.
We are yappers.
God,
Sure.
You're a yapper. We can do that, but I think it all leads to different points in which we have, because especially with this subject and the type of grimoires we're going to be talking about next, as far as like the Lesser Key of Solomon, or where the fuck was the other one I was talking about? Lesser Key of Solomon, or the Secret Grimoire of Turiel. These things are a little darker than just your potions and, ritualistic shit.
Does it get into like manipulation and shit?
Well, no, yes, but like the Lesser Key of Solomon is talking about summoning demons.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where it's different. Now, the shit we were talking about before is like magical powers and the rich continue to be rich. That's what they want, stuff like that. I don't think in the shit that they do, if they do use grimoires, I don't think it's about summoning demons or anything like that. Now, you could hit the reverse of, if you're using magic, it's based off satanic shit. It's based off demons. It's based off the devil because magic is devil.
Well, okay, so
if you want to believe that.
Well, if you want to believe it in that aspect, Tony was just talking about it off air about the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch, if you want to believe that, is a agnostic version of it's a supposedly lost book of Christianity in the Old Testament, where in this book they talk about where these angels, how many of these angels fell, what these angels taught us, and some of these angels they taught us magic and astrology and all this sort of shit.
Astrology.
And where I'm getting at it with this is that it's in our Bible about that there's magic, and we also know that King Solomon was known to be like one of the wisest prophets of the Bible, where he was able to control demons, he was able to talk to animals, he was able to do a whole bunch of shit. But his downfall, this nigga like bitches, you know what I'm saying? He like pagan bitches. That was his downfall.
Okay.
So you're saying bitches are always the downfall?
Oh hell yeah, it's in the Bible.
Oh, dear God.
Well, okay. So I have 3 books right here. Like I said, it was the Turiel, the Lesser Key of Solomon, and Andrew D. Chumley's the Azatea.
Mm-hmm.
Now these are modern grimoires.
These are considered modern grimoire books.
No, so nothing. Well, I know that we talk about 20th century. There's nothing like 21st century that you found there. Anything?
Like written in the last 20 years?
Yeah.
Not that I have. I mean, this one.
A lot of it is like stuff that was written a couple hundred years ago and now translated into modern English.
The Azatea was published on October 31st, 2002.
These are okay.
That's within the last 20 years. Now let's go with the oldest one, which is the Turiel.
Well, you're talking about Azatea?
I guess that's what it's
that
called.
was 1992 softcover volume under the Xenon imprint.
Yeah.
It was described as a complete recession of sabbatic theory and praxis relating the 3 great rites of Ingress, Congress, and Egress, together with a detailed exposition of the 22 letters of the sorcerer's alphabet. This book forms a resume of Chumley's system and is the core text for practitioners wishing to study and practice the sabbatic path of magic. A 10th anniversary edition was revised to include further textual and illustrated material, and that's the one that was published on Halloween of 2002. Part of the book's significance in modern occult literature lies in its conscious reinvention of the format grimoire or sorcerer's instruction book.
Now, and
like the Sorcerer's Apprentice?
I have no idea.
So, okay, so I was just gonna say, so just going off of that sounds like they're like how what you just said, like they're retranslating an older grimoire book.
Well, no. He wrote that book apparently. The Azatea was privately published in 1992 by Chumley. And it is a rework, I guess, of ideas when it comes to...
Okay, so they just took some... So they just...
It's a complete renaissance of sabbatic theory and praxis.
Sabbatic meaning ancient Jewish Kabbalah type of practices?
Sabbatic theory and praxis relating the 3 great rites of Ingress, Congress, like you said, and Egress, together with a detailed exposition of the 22 letters of the sorcerer's alphabet.
I feel like you just mentioned something about Solo Level anime shit. I'm just like,
Probably. I mean,
Nah, because Egress is just like, I'm like, I've heard that before.
the book forms a resume of Chumlee's system and is the core text for the practitioners wishing to study and practice this sabbatic path of magic.
That's what I just fucking said.
Yeah, a 10th anniversary edition, blah blah blah,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
so, okay, so it's just a rework of something that's old.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's taking old ideas and bringing them into the modern century.
Now,
But here's the other thing with this. Hold on a second. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. I cut you off a lot in this episode.
But he was born in 1967.
So that means he has a social security.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I ain't gonna trust no motherfucker with a social security.
About magic?
About magic?
He was born in 1967, Chumlee. His book came out in 1992 in a revised edition in 2002. The math says that he was 25 years old when he wrote this book on magic. Does that sound to you like a sorcerer or just somebody who was influenced by Dungeons and Dragons?
Depending.
He was 20.
Okay.
You say he was born in 67?
67, and his book came out in 1992.
That's 25.
That's 25 years. I'm sorry. I don't believe a 25-year-old sorcerer.
And homeboy was definitely doing some drugs. Crack was a thing back then. It's still a thing.
Well, yeah, but all right, Eddie Murphy, calm down. My whole thing with that is, I understand what you're saying. Young, influenced by
young, unaccredited sorcerer that with no credentials whatsoever. Like, I'm not gonna trust you.
How many people have used the book though?
I don't know.
That is a good question.
Like, how many people have used the book, and is there any proof that the book does work?
Well, I don't think it's an idea of work. He claimed that the tradition was found in two lineages of traditional witchcraft, both predating those whose modern revival is formed of witchcraft, which has been generically normalized as Wicca. So he's basically it's the same shit. He's taking these old ideas and he's retooling them for a modern day, edition.
So technically, he didn't write any of these things.
I don't know what he wrote. I don't know what's in the book.
But that's what I'm saying. If he's retranslating old ideas,
or no, it's not. You're taking it too literal. I'm thinking like it's more. From what I'm understanding, it's more along the lines of here's a concept that was used 100 or 1,000 years ago in witchcraft. I'm going to take the concept and retool it to my own interpretation as it applies in 2020.
That sounds like the same motherfucker that talked about the Anunnaki.
1992. It's like someone looking at
that Planet Nibiru shit. Like, it sounds like the same motherfucker that wrote that shit.
It's like Nibiru. Go watch a video.
It's like somebody taking the Constitution. It was written in 1770s, whatever, and then you're like, well, in 2024, let's rewrite the Constitution and take the ideas, but how they really apply in modern day.
That's what people are fucking trying to do.
Right, I understand. That's what this guy essentially was, from what I'm understanding, that's essentially what he did. He took these old ideas as they were written, and he kind of modernized them. He didn't rewrite them per se, he reinterpreted them to his own way of how it applies in 1992. With grunge pants and, Tamagotchis and shit
Plaid
like
shirt.
that. Yeah.
Tamagotchis for the shit.
Kurt Cobain shotgun.
He was watching, Snick and, fucking.
But let's just put it like this. I understand what you're saying, but obviously now you can take the more vague approach to what this book might be.
Mm-hmm.
And I, me, I'm more of a more literal person. Now, if he's sitting there rewriting these old ideas into the modern age and reframing them, that means these ideas were once used as a form of magic.
Sure. Did they work though?
We don't know.
Exactly. And I'm sorry if the 25-year-old sorcerer is going to come up to me and go, "This is how you're going to manipulate." I'm like, sit down, Lord of the Rings. It's going to be okay.
So then, what's the next book that was
the one I have? We talked a little bit. It's the Turiel.
Okay.
The Turiel is a fallen watcher in the ancient apocryphal,
Mm-hmm.
that's the word, text known as the Book of Enoch.
Mm-hmm.
An ancient washer. Yeah, that's okay. Fallen angel.
Yes. In later translations, he is one of the 20 leaders of 200 fallen angels,
Yes.
mentioned 18th. The name is believed to originate from Tur, or rock, and El, meaning God, meaning rock of God. While the translation taken from M.A. Nib's work on the Ethiopic Book of Enoch is either Mountain of God or Rock of God. Now, the grimoire is called the Secret Grimoire of Turiel, in which the magician is given instructions on how to contact Turiel, this angel, this fallen angel. It claims to have been written in about 1518, and that it may have been copied from something older. According to the original publisher, the work was found by Marius Malchus in 1927 after buying an English translation of a now lost Latin original from a defrocked priest.
Defrocked.
Defrocked. What does that mean?
Means that he was a priest and he did something that got kicked out. He was defrocked.
He was kind of like excommunicated.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, which he copied before discarding. No references to the work have appeared anywhere before 1960, when the work was originally published. The story of the defrocked priest and the lost manuscript is fiction meant to cover up why the author could not produce any copies older than the 20th century.
Translation, he made the whole fucking thing up.
The work plagiarizes and rehashes material from A.E. Waite's 1898 work, The Book of Black Magic and the Pacts. I'm not going to do the Latin translation. And Samuel Little McGregor Mather's work, Introduction into the 1888 edition of the Key of Solomon, the King.
Right.
It is ultimately related, if not based on a mid-19th century manuscript by Frederick Hockley's titled The Complete Book of Magic Science, of which multiple copies existed in different libraries.
Sure.
So, this is a book. Obviously, it's
full of shit and made up. He took different ideas from different books of magic and he put them in one, and he said that he got this from a defrocked priest, and this is how you contact.
And it's older than 1518.
And this is how you contact one of the 20 generals of hell, or whatever the fuck you want to call them. Like, because it was Satan wasn't the only one who fell. A bunch of angels did as well. And they
200
angels. They divided up into like groups. Like, each one had its own charter or whatever. Yeah. They each had their own pins, and like Turiel is one of them, and. It's a bunch of shit. It's like, why Turiel? Why is he the demon that gets his own book on how to summon?
Fallen angel, not demon, two different things.
Whatever. Shouldn't the rest of them get their own book? Like, they all had their own book published. Like, well, listen, Turiel, maybe you're not the guy I need to contact. Who do I need to speak to about getting this thing done? Like, you go to, like, when you need your driveway paved, you don't go to a plumber. And if the plumber's the only guy with a listing, you got to call him, and like, why call him? Like, what about the other guy who could do stonework or pave the driveway? My point is, it's a bunch of shit.
Okay.
It's a bunch of stupid nonsense and bullshit.
Wes, how do you feel about the book? I think it just moaned. Wes, how do you feel?
Moan again, Wes. Come on.
No. I have to make the sound for my lady that she loves so much.
Make that again.
One more time.
I like the first one better. Go back to the. You're getting me there.
All right.
Whoa.
So then we come
no
to
diddy.
No diddy.
Then we come to the last book of the night, the Lesser Key of Solomon.
Yes, compiled by Aleister Crowley.
Yes, and it's also known as Le Magenten Clavicula Salomonis.
Hold on, we talked about Crowley. Isn't this like this
Did
fucking...
we talk about Crowley?
I think
we're going to have I think he's a topic of a whole episode later this season.
He was mentioned at some point.
Was it Crowley or...
I think we were talking about cults. We were talking about... At some point, we were talking about cults.
Yeah, I think last season we were talking about...
We were talking about cults, and Crowley was mentioned.
No, we talked at the beginning of this season.
Yes.
When we talked about Astaphy, or not Astaphy.
But pretty much, it was if I remember correctly, this book was like the book that they used to like follow their whole cult type shit.
Yeah, it was. Crowley's Thelema, right? Aleister Crowley is
Bald.
Bald, but he's buried in Jersey, right?
Thanks.
He's not like local. He's not like around where we live. You have to. His ashes were scattered around a tree, and it's out on a private property. It was like a property of his friend who owned the land and had a house there. And his ashes were scattered at the base of a tree, and it's out by like somewhere along like the Jersey-Pennsylvania border. It's like Delaware Water Gap area.
Well, this is the funny part about this is what I'm reading right here. The Lesser Key of Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that there's already a Key of Solomon?
Yeah, it's just not as great.
It's just not as great.
It's an anonymously authored grimoire on sorcery.
Yeah.
It was compiled in the mid-17th century, mostly from materials several centuries older. It is divided into 5 books: the Ars Goetia, the Ars Thuria Goetia, Ars Paulina, Ars Almaldel, and Ars Notoria. It is based on the Testament of Solomon and the ring mentioned within it that he used to seal demons.
Yeah.
So, why are we saying that it was Crowley when it says this is a anonymously authored grimoire?
Because Crowley translated it into English.
So
in 1904, I want to say.
So the Lesser Key of Solomon, and then the Key of Solomon.
Yeah.
2 different things then.
I don't know if they're 2 different things. I really don't. I mean, I know that it's a compilation of a bunch of shit.
Well, there is a greater Key of Solomon.
Okay.
It's the greatest one.
Pseudo depigraphical grimoire attributed to King Solomon. It probably dates back to the 14th or 15th century Italian Renaissance. It presents a typical example of Renaissance magic.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have that.
Yeah, there's also...
Crowley edited it. Sorry. It was translated by someone named McGregor Mathers, but Crowley was the editor of it. And it was popularized because he was the one who talked about it the most.
So this is the one I'm talking about right now. Is called the Little Key of Solomon. The title most commonly used, the Lesser Key of Solomon, does not in fact occur in the manuscripts.
Mm-hmm.
A.E. Walt, in his 1998 book of Black Magic and of Pax, does use the terms so-called Greater Key and Lesser Key to distinguish between the clavicle Solomus and the Magentan or Lamagatin. So he may have coined it that. The Latin term Goetia refers to the evocation of demons or evil spirits. It is derived from the ancient Greek word Goetia, meaning charm, witchcraft, or jugglery. In medieval and Renaissance Europe, Goetia was generally considered evil and heretical. It contrasts Theurgy, and magia naturalis, natural magic.
Sure.
Which were sometimes considered more noble. Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa. What a fucking name. Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa. In his 3 books of occult philosophy writes, now the parts of ceremonial magic are Goetia and Theurgia. Goetia is unfortunate by the commerces of unclean spirits. Sorry, I thought it was an I. Made up of the rites of wicked curiosities, unlawful charms, and deprecations, and it is abandoned and executed by all laws.
Okay.
You don't understand anything I'm saying.
Yes and no. Listen, the Key of Solomon was regarded as like a superhero. Mm-hmm. He was wise beyond his years. He was able to vanquish demons. He was able to speak to animals and shit like that. Everything that somebody... It's almost like he's the first Superman. It's like no one can do this shit. You can't talk to animals. That's not possible. You know, being wise, seeing through the bullshit and understanding. Okay, fine. There's a lot of people who are very wise out there, right? I can believe that. But I think that's where a lot of this starts when it comes to shit like this. You have somebody who was legitimately a king, who was larger than life, who made a lot of good decisions, and people took that and turned him into a fucking comic book hero, and he gave him all these mystical powers. You know, a little kid who's born. I'll give you it like this, right? If a kid's born, say they're 10 years old when Solomon died, and he wants to know more about Solomon, this king that he was born into, who was reigning, and he hears comparisons when the new king took over about how Solomon did this and how he was different. This kid's going to idolize Solomon, and then he's going to hear stories about Solomon. Then he's going to extrapolate, and then he's going to turn around and say stars that maybe he didn't understand. And that's how legends begin. Oh, he talked to animals. He was able to vanquish demons. He had a magical ring with a seal on it that could... None of this is true. This is just the legend that became the truth because that's what people wanted to believe.
So in this particular case, you think it's, if the legend is better than the truth, write the legend.
Correct. And then people write. Then people later go.
The legend becomes the truth.
Right, and then people later on write books about magic and spooky shit, and then they say this is what Solomon did, and it's not what Solomon did. It's based off the ideas of what Solomon did, which were based off of the myth of Solomon that was written hundreds of years after he died, and it was passed down from generation to generation. It's the same thing.
So you don't think there was any books that were written during the time of Solomon that depicted him kind of like the shit we have with Jesus Christ?
I was just about to say that. It's the same thing with Jesus.
We have things that were written during the time of Jesus Christ.
We do, but the stories of Christ were put on paper hundreds of years after he died. You know, it's like you tell the same story for hundreds of years about the miracles, for example. He walked on water, he changed water into wine, that sort of shit. And it's like, did he really walk on water, or did he just know which rocks were close to the surface and it made him look like he was walking on water?
You don't talk shit about my Lord and Savior.
All I'm saying is somebody who was watching that from the shore kind of went, oh shit, that motherfucker's walking on water. He wasn't. You know? And it could have been...
All right, then tell me how he fed a whole group with just one loaf of bread.
I don't fucking know.
Or he translated fucking different fish. Or he turned water into wine.
I don't know about the water into wine thing. I don't have an explanation for all the miracles. What I'm saying, though, is that there is
this guy, West. This guy.
To me, it's easier to believe that he did something that was really awesome, and then people, through playing the telephone game for hundreds of years, quite frankly, translated that into something different. It became a miracle many years after the fact.
Let's just put it like this. In this book, there's mentions of 72 demons. I'm not going to name any of them.
Oh, there's a lot of them. There's Asimov.
Shut up.
There's Beelzebub.
Because I'm in that mindset, this is just me personally, that if you say the name of a demon, the demon is going to, oh, I hear someone calling.
No, I don't believe...
Someone's knocking.
I think it goes back to what I said at the beginning of this episode. If you believe in this...
I do.
Okay. If you believe in it, then don't say anything because you're afraid something's going to happen. That's what I meant before. It was like...
If the demon picks my fat ass up, then we know it's real.
That's what I meant before when I'm like, fear is powerful. There's a power when it comes to fear. And it's not the person who is afraid who has the power. It's the person who isn't afraid, who notices someone who's afraid. That's they have the power to manipulate the person who's afraid. So if you don't believe in it, write as much as you want about it. Read as much as you want about it. If you're a fiction writer, you have to suspend your belief if you're going to write something in this realm and you want to draw from something like this. You're like, if you believe in your heart of hearts that if you mention a demon's name, that demon's going to start fucking with you, then don't mention the fucker's name. Keep it to yourself. Don't even fuck with that shit. Go watch Happy Gilmore. Go read books about happy things. Don't fuck with the dark side of life. You think by reading about it's going to invoke it into your life. But if you're someone who doesn't believe in it, you can read all you want about it because you're not giving it any power. You're not giving the power to this thing to manipulate you if it is real.
So you're back to the belief that
belief
has more power than anything else.
The power of belief is a real tangible thing. I do believe that. And think of it like this.
Which is weird to me coming from your stance as far as religion or anything like that.
I'm not saying it works 100% of the time, and but there have been things that I can't look at and go, well, there's no other explanation to it. You have people, recorded people who have been sick, like on their way out, get better because of the power of, you want to say the power of prayer, power of belief, whatever it is. There's a placebo effect that's happening somehow, and that's making the person better. That's why it's called a placebo. We don't know why the fuck it's happening, but we know something's happening, and they get better. I gotta believe, to a degree, it is the power of belief. That if I just say, no, this is not happening, not denying it, but like, I'm going to beat this thing. I'm going to do what I got to do to make it right. Some people win, some people lose. I'm not saying it's foolproof.
Wes, can you believe this shit? Can you believe this shit?
And if you're reading...
Because I'll be honest, the way, you know how the way Anthony talks about religion, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're going to sit there and tell me that you have more... You believe, it's the only word I can say, but you have this much faith and belief into the power of belief, and yet you think religion in aspects is bullshit. That's weird to me. It's like
hypocritical,
contradictory.
Then let me clarify it in a better way. Then,
well, can I explain a little bit more?
All right.
It's because I feel like religion is about the power of belief. Because I believe in a God, I believe in the Bible, I believe in Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I believe in Muhammad, I believe in Buddha, I believe in whatever your deity or your savior, prophet, whatever you want to call them, your belief in them is the reason why you believe in the writings and in the teachings. And if you have that strong enough belief, then what does that lead for you then?
Well, I think you're missing a word that I make sure to say when I talk about why I think religion is bullshit. It's a word that you left out right now that I'm going to reinsert that's going to change the entire definition of what I believe in and clarify it. And I've always said this. I don't believe religion itself is bullshit. I believe that organized religion is bullshit. I believe in a God. I believe in some sort of afterlife where you're judged and you go to heaven or hell or however you want to classify a good place and a bad place. That I absolutely believe in. I do not believe in the structure and organization of how religion is handled on earth. I believe that religion and faith is a personal thing that should not be monetized, that should not be you shouldn't be judged for. It should be at its purest form. You alone in your bedroom or bathroom or any place of solitude, your car even, where you can have a one-on-one conversation with the deity that you believe in. I believe if you're looked at and chastised for deciding to not go to church or to not be confirmed or to not follow this religious thing, that's where the bullshit comes in.
I can sit there and understand that. But when you turn around and say that you believe that the power of belief can sit there and what was it you said? Can sit there and be measured?
Yeah.
So that means if you believe in something strong enough, there's a power in which to make it true then.
I believe, like I said to you just now about the people who get better from no reason because they believed in it, it is a 50-50 thing. Okay. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and I can't quantify why it works.
What would you say to the people who believe that the Bible and everything in that Bible, whoever Bible it may be, Bible...
Would you count the Bible as a grimoire?
Well, some people do, accordingly.
Yes. But my thing is, if you're going to sit there and say the power of belief, if they believe in it strong enough, it has a 50-50 work to it. There are people who sit there and believe every page on the Bible that was written is true. You can't quantify that those things are true.
No, you can't.
So when you sit there, if someone goes, I believe in my whole heart, I'll bet everything on my life that the belief in the Bible and everything in here is 100% true.
I look at that person, I go, Buon Fortuna, good for you. I don't care. Like, that's good. That's good. That's
Don't
good.
fuck my mic up, bro.
That's good for you. I'm not part of the book club. It's not what I believe. And based off of the atrocity, I'll point the Bible out because it's what I'm most familiar with. Just from the standpoint of the people who have used the Bible to commit atrocities in the name of God, that's enough right there for me to go, I don't want anything to do with this book. I don't. The stories that are in that book can be interpreted a trillion different ways based on the person who's reading those stories.
Well, that's why I think
there is no one set way to say this parable, story, or whatever the fuck in that book is accurate.
I agree with you. And at the same point, I think it goes to the point of, I mean, it's a little different, but I think you can mold it and use it in the same form. Separate the art from the artist. Separate. You could sit there, you and I could sit there like and have two different interpretations of the Bible.
Yeah.
And I think if you don't believe it, I should kill you, or use the same thing for me.
Sure.
That's our interpretations of the Bible. That's not what the Bible is.
Okay.
That's the person.
Sure.
So when you sit there and go, well, I don't want nothing to do with that book because of how someone else is interpreting it.
Sure.
That's more, to me, short-sighted on your part than to be like, well, I'm going to read the book and view it as my own.
Yeah.
And whatever you believe in, you think, yes, I understand there's a bunch of atrocities. Same thing with a lot of books, a lot of different Bibles. We could talk about what's happening in the Middle East alone.
Sure. Based off faith and yeah.
Okay. Based on faith of religion and based on books of their belief. But whatever text, whatever book that is, has nothing to do with what the person is interpreting it as.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Like I said to you earlier in this episode, you have the Jewish faith, certain sects of the Jewish faith who will not change their beliefs. They will not change their customs. They will not change anything about the way they live their life from generation to generation because it is written in their book, this is how you worship. This is how you live your life. They are very stringent. The conservative aspects of any religion, they are doing it based off of, they take their book literally. That's great that you do that.
We still have a bunch of Amish people, too, because of that type of shit.
Oh, dear God.
Who the fuck am I going to offend?
That's a good point. They're not going to fucking see this. Was just shaking his head.
I don't know what the fuck is going on.
I just kind of want to wrap this up.
Yeah.
I have... It's an interesting take you make about, like, separate the art from the artist, and I do that. I still find Bill Cosby hysterical, but I think he should still be in jail. You know what I mean? Like R. Kelly, I'll bump that every time he comes on, but he needs to die in prison. Like, that's just the way. You're absolutely right. But I honestly think because none of those books, regardless of your religion, can be proven, and it's completely based on faith, then in my estimation, none of them warrant any truth.
You could say the same thing about Grimoire Books.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this. If everyone is special, then no one is... Hold on. Let me finish my thought. If everyone is special, then no one is special. And if I don't have to... And if they're all lined up saying that they're the truth, I'm going to look at them all and go, pick something, fuck off, and I'm going to sit there and talk to the deity I believe in the privacy of my own home.
You're absolutely right. And I think this is where we'll sit here and end this, West. You could sit there and say that with your full chest, and you have the right to do that. But when you sit there and say one belief, like, if this many people interpret it this way, then they're all wrong.
Yeah.
Say that same things about these Grimoire books.
100%.
But yet you choose to sit there and go, it's more of the belief in it that makes it real or not.
Power of belief, the power of suggestion. It's something that's we can look at and go, yeah, that person got better and we don't know why. Why? Because they believed that they were going to get better. We don't have an answer.
You can throw it up to that, though.
I will. And I will tell you this too. If you come to if the modern medicine ever gets to that point where they can define exactly what happened there, like it wasn't a placebo effect. It was something that actually happened. We didn't catch it. Then I'm gonna sit there and go, well, that's your explanation. Then the power of belief at that point goes out the window, and I will change my mind and my opinion when that happens. But until then, and people keep getting better for no fucking reason, and the only thing I can chalk it up to is that they believed they would get better, then that's all I have to go with for right now.
Which camera am I on, West? Middle? Okay. So bring it to mine real quick. So we're going to end this episode here.
I have to shit.
Yeah, I think it's been a really good long episode, which longer than what we thought it was going to be. Conversational wise, it's fucking awesome.
We went completely off of our grimoires and shit.
No, we're talking. Look, we talked about the Bible, which people think. We talked about the Bible. We talked about power of belief and stuff like that.
Good point.
I think it all ties into which we believe in this. So, last things, belief in grimoires. Yes. No. West. Yeah. Yours is
on a personal basis, no.
You think it's more just a power of belief that gives it its power?
Yeah.
In which it could be true then?
It could be true, but you'd have to prove it. You'd have to show me, like, if someone really believes in it and something comes of that belief, fine, I'll bite. Same thing with the power of prayer or power of healing, whatever. But you really got to show me a real example. Like, I can show you an example of someone who prayed to get better or believed that they were going to get better, and they did.
Well,
show me somebody who opened the magic book and prayed and did some sort of incantation. All of a sudden, like, their chairs were floating.
Well,
or they got what the fuck they wanted.
Let's just put it like this. Next week's episode. Wes, you ready for this?
I won't be here for this.
This power of belief. You want to think about the power of belief?
Yeah.
Do you believe in tarot cards? We're talking about tarot cards next week.
Thank God I'm missing this episode.
God.
You don't like tarot cards, Wes?
Oh my God, I hate those fucking people and those fucking stupid cards.
Well, guess what? You saw.
I'm gonna shuffle these cards and then I'm gonna just fucking divine. Oh, you got the fucking king of this. You're gonna be fucking this, that, and the third. Fucking blow me.
We apologize. No,
I don't. Fuck
you. You have the eight of wands. That means you're gonna be attacked.
Fuck you and your tarot cards, bro. That shit don't work. That shit's stupid and it doesn't make any.
I would love
sense.
to do the tarot cards and just not be able. I'll just interpret what I see my way. Like, you just drew the eight of wands. That means you're gonna be gang raped by eight guys.
Name Juan.
All right. So next week we're doing tarot cards, and
I made a joke about gang rape. You know, I can do anything.
And that we're halfway through our season already. At that point, you know,
I got shit that can choke an elephant. Let's hurry it up.
Anybody else have anything to add for this episode? No.
Negative.
No. All right. Like I said, next week tarot cards. Go visit all of our social medias. You're gonna hear that at the end of the episode. And everyone say goodnight.
Adios, motherfuckers. IsThisRealPC.com. Let's go.
Yatsumi.
We'll catch you guys next week. Remember, everybody, question everything. Good night. Basically, it was used as
scamming people.
Claims by early French occultists, and this is occultists,
okay,
that tarot cards had esoteric links to ancient Egypt, the Kabbalah, Indic Tantra, or the I Ching have been frequently repeated by authors on card divination. However, scholarly research reveals that having been invented in Italy in the 15th century for playing cards, there is no evidence of significant use of tarot card divination. Hey there, fellow truth seekers. Are you ready to dive deep into the mysteries of the universe? Look no further than IsIsraelPC.com, your one-stop destination for all things mysterious and unexplained. From captivating podcast episodes to thought-provoking articles, our website is packed with fascinating content that will leave you questioning reality. Visit isthisrealpc.com today and join our community of curious minds as we explore the unknown together. Don't just wonder, discover the truth today at isthisrealpc.com.